Hey, what's up? Rafael Cortez back on the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. We are sitting down with Mr. Dustin Heiner here, and he is the founder and creator of Master Passive Income and the Master Passive Income platform. So it's a show. He teaches all, specifically in single family residence, 4 units and below kind of stuff, how to build your own passive income portfolio. He's been doing it since 2006. The man is full of golden nuggets and a wealth of knowledge. So we're going to be tapping into that as well, of course, as his journey as an entrepreneur. So welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being here.
Rafael, thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited to be here.
I love it, man. I love that guitar that you have in the background. I'm a huge guitar player. I'm not that awesome. Good. I hold my own, but it's I just love sitting down with the guitar and then just jamming out for a couple of hours every now and then.
Oh, it's terrific. It takes time to learn, but once you start playing it, just like anything, once you start getting better at it, you'll enjoy it more, and you get better at it. It sounds better.
Yeah, it's great. It's like a language. It's got its own language. And I like your Successfully Unemployed t-shirt. I love that. Are you gonna have to
thanks. Yeah, because as I told people, because I quit my job at 37 years old, and as I was quitting my job, people said, "Oh, you're retiring?" I'm like, "Well, I always loved working. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I want to create businesses. I'm not going to stop working. There's only so much golf I could play, so much fishing, and all. I mean, that's great. Don't get me wrong, but I love serving people, and so I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur, and so successfully unemployed. That's when I tell people I am successfully unemployed. And they're like, "What does that mean?" And it basically means I'm happy about not working for somebody else and figuring out other ways to make money.
I love it, man. And you've been an entrepreneur since you were saying since college, like back since you were in college. You started you were working, of course, in different places like Walmart, and then you moved on to IT, but you always had this a side hustle kind of going on in the background, right?
Absolutely. I've had so many businesses, everything from graphic website design company, a skateboard manufacturing business. They even have a convenience store, a pizzeria, all while working a job, because I was trying to figure out ways to make money. And real estate was the easiest one to make the most money and was with the least amount of work.
So you ended up looking at a couple of different verticals, ended up in the vehicle of real estate, and that's where you're at right now. So tell me about that. You've been in doing real estate investments and kind of building up this portfolio and finding this process back or since what, 2006? Is that what you said?
Correct. So that was 2 years before the crash.
You retired at 37. Is that your official retirement date? Wow, 37, man. I mean, that's for most people, that's a dream, right? I want to get to that point when I'm 67.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what's funny is I actually could have quit 3 years earlier, but it was so hard. Well, the reason why I was able to quit it, because I bought property after property after property and held on to them. And that passive income that I make every single month goes to help feed my family and provide for all of our expenses. And so if I bought one property at $250 a month, that's $3,000 a year. But 10 properties, that's $30,000. 20 years or 20 properties, that's $60,000 a year. And so as I bought property after property, I literally could have quit like 2 or 3 years earlier, but I was so scared to leave that W-2, that paycheck that seems to be consistent. But here, let me tell you a quick story, Rafael. So this is what got me over the hurdle of saying, you know what, I'm going to actually change my life and not work for somebody else. So I have 4 kids, and my fourth daughter was just born. I went on paternity leave, and going on paternity leave, basically the dad stays home with the mommy to help with mommy and, bonding with the kids and all that sort of stuff. And after about a week, I go back to work. Remember, I'm working IT at the county government in California, and technology stuff. And so I go back to work, and I'm at work for basically a week. And on a Friday at about 3:30 in the afternoon, I get a call from my boss's secretary, like the top dog. The secretary gives me a call and says, "Hey, Dustin, would you please come to the office? The boss wants to talk to you." I thought to myself, what in the world? Like, this is weird. Why are they calling me in?
What I do?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't do anything good or bad that I didn't know of. And so I sat there, I hung up. I said, sure, I hung up the phone. And I sat there for a second. I thought, what could it be? And I went back a few weeks prior, me going on my paternity leave. I heard a little bit of rumors or rumblings of, man, the department's not having enough money. Like, there's going to be layoffs. And I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen? Like, no, that can't be me. I told myself, you have plenty of seniority. You've been here long enough. You do such a great job. It can't be me. So I get up and I walk, turn the corner, go down the hall, and I start walking down the hall. Now, it's a short hall, but it felt longer and longer. Every single step that I took felt like my feet became lead bricks. I could barely walk down the hall because as I was realizing that, oh no, this is completely out of normal. And it probably seems like this could be something happening. So I start to get a little anxious, a little nervous, but I shake it off. And I turn the corner to my boss's office. I see the boss's secretary right there. And she looks at me and sheepishly, she grins and says, Dustin, would you please have a seat? And so I say, sure. And I sit down. And she's looking at me consolingly because she knows exactly what's going on. I have no clue what's going on. And I'm sitting there and I'm realizing, oh my goodness, is this the time that I actually don't have a job anymore? Are they going to let me go? Like my hands get all clammy, my forehead gets all sweaty. And I start to realize all this time I've been working for somebody else or something else when it could literally be ripped out from under me. Did I waste my life doing this? And then thoughts come to my head like, oh my goodness, am I a failure as a husband? Am I a failure as a father, as a provider? Oh my goodness, what's going to happen? I get more and more nervous. And then the door opens up to my boss's office. And out walks a lady with a piece of paper in her hand. And she's noticeably distraught, noticeably upset, like her world's been rocked. She's not necessarily crying, but you can tell something big has happened. Then my boss says, Dustin, would you please come to my office? And he hands me my layoff notice. I actually get laid off. Remember, this is the government. Nobody ever gets fired or laid off from the government, but I did. And so I grabbed that paper and I realized, oh my goodness, as I'm walking back to my office, I sit down and I realized two things, Raphael. I realized two things. Number one, I need to figure out a way to make money to provide for my family. That's what I need to do. And so that was the first thing. The second thing I needed to do was to make sure I never, ever let this happen to me again. So the first thing, praise the Lord, I was able to get a job very, very quickly in another department that had more money, the sheriff's office, which was great work. I started working there right away, which I didn't even actually get laid off in a sense, where I actually just jumped over to another department, which praise the Lord was fantastic. The second thing was from that point, when I'm literally just got laid off, I'm sitting in my chair at my desk. I realized that no longer when anybody ever asks me, hey, Dustin, what do you do? Basically, they're asking, what value do you put on yourself? I normally just ask, well, I answer, I work in the IT at the county government. And that's the value that I would put on myself. But I said, no more am I ever going to do that. I'm now going to tell people I am an investor. Because I had one or two properties at the time, I said, I'm never going to let this happen again. And I'm going to become an investor where every single person will know that I not only have an investing business, but this is who I identify as. So everybody listening to this or watching this on YouTube, you definitely need to realize that you're worth so much more than anybody could ever pay you. I'll give you an example how or why I would say that. Number one, your boss is just paying you enough to keep you working. But number two, so that you won't quit, that not take money out of their pocket. So you're worth so much more. So from that point forward, and I'll round up the story, Raphael, just a second. So what happened was from that day forward, I told everybody I'm an investor. It so happens maybe 100% of my money comes from my side job or my job, but that's my side job. I am an investor. From that day forward, bought property after property, built businesses, and worked my way out to where I actually was able to become successful unemployed. Now, round it all up, after another like probably 5 or 6 years of investing and building businesses, what I actually did was went in my boss's office, my new boss's office, great boss, and I said, boss, it's time for me. I'm done. I'm quitting because I can. And I kid you not, Raphael, if you remember that walk that I had to take down that hallway where my feet were lead bricks, basically concrete. It was such a hard walk. I literally had a 2-mile walk to my car because I was working in downtown. And I felt like I was walking on clouds because I said, no more will I ever work a job again. Working for, I call it job is just over broke. They're just paying you just enough to keep you just over broke. So round that all up. Now I'm successfully unemployed. And it took that, my daughter being born and then being laid off to realize I can never let anybody do this to me again. And I worked my way out of the job.
Wow, man, that's quite the story, and it really takes guts, right? It takes guts to come in and then bet on yourself. I was having a conversation just recently with another guest, and we were talking about the idea of holding a personal value, and I mean, when you tapped on that right now, but I think it's one of the key things that as entrepreneurs we often struggle with, right? We have this idea of what we do kind of defines us. Okay, what do you do? I don't know. I'm a mechanic. I'm a sales guy for this thing. I'm a this. I'm a that. At the end of the day, we can be whatever we choose, that's we're blessed in, to have the opportunity to make a choice, right, as to what we want to do. Now you had this big epiphany come to you. You were raising a family, and then you're limited on time. You did something that it's pretty much standard behavior, right? You take leave when you're working, something in corporate. But when you came back, I mean, totally got surprised with this. The good thing about it is that, I mean, you took action, and then you just kind of grab the bull by the horns. So yeah, I commend you. I commend you on that, man. And how does the how did it happen? Like, talk to me from a mindset standpoint. How did it happen? Did you just wake up one day and say, okay, cool, this is my worth, this is what happens? Was it an epiphany that kind of felt like a switch, flipped over, or was it something that gradually got you to that state of mind where you say, okay, enough is enough?
So my whole goal in life, after I worked, my first job was at Walmart, pushing carts in Fresno, California. It's really, really hot there in the summer. So I'm pushing carts, and that was a high school job. And then when I got my first paycheck, I realized, number one, there was a union. So I was taking out union dues. I was like, they didn't do anything for me, or at least as far as I knew.
Yeah.
They took money out. Then I had taxes, and I had this, that. Like, man, this is horrible. I don't. So that was the first, like, that first paycheck. I was like, I should be making a lot more, but I'm not. So that, fast forward into my dad and my stepdad. So my mom remarried. So my stepdad was also a business owner. My dad was a business owner. And so because of both of them, I saw the idea that you can be your own boss, and at the same time working for other people. Now, what it really came down to, I'll give you the big shift in my mind. Number one, I was creating businesses, but I was creating businesses that wasn't passive income. That's why I created Master Passive Income. I want people to learn
Creating time for money. Yeah.
Absolutely. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is a fantastic book. And that got me to thinking that I don't have to work 1 hour and get paid for an hour. I can work one time and get paid over and over again. I said, you could do that? Sign me up. Give me as many of those as possible. So literally now, every single business, from reading that book to now creating my business here with real estate, my real estate investing business, also with Master Passive Income. But every single business that I create, since I'm an entrepreneur, like, I'm a business builder, I have to be building more businesses, and I have to hire, this is internally to me, I hire people to run my business so I can create more businesses. But every single one is a passive income, because the switch in me was realizing that I don't have to work for money. I could build businesses, and those businesses make me money, or I can invest my money and that can make me money. And so that switch, that value shift right then and there, after reading that book and then realizing my value is so much greater. Like I said earlier, it's so much greater than your boss will ever pay you, because it's taking money out of their pocket. If you can actually turn that around, where you're the boss, where you're the investor, everything's on you, your value is so much more than anybody can ever pay you. So that's what I had to realize in myself.
I completely agree, man. It's and taking that, switching, kind of like having the pendulum switch over from the employee mindset to the first. First off, we start as a self-employed, right? We jump into a self-employed mindset, and then we kind of gradually build ourselves up to the business owner mindset, which is where you're at right now. You're talking about passive income. So passive income, it's just to kind of put it out there for the listeners, is the business, it's passive income to you, because you have systems, you have a strategy in place, you have something that's actually generating wealth, not meaning that it's just sitting there and then producing cash out of the clouds, right? There's people working the businesses, people are you're generating jobs, you're generating opportunities for other people, which in turn gives you the revenue, right? And which is passive to you, because you're not actually in the business themselves. So now, which takes me to my next question. Tell me, you've built multiple businesses in different verticals, and in my head, and I know it's once you have like the recipe, right, like the overall kind of recipe for building a business, you kind of put together your own process. We all of us who have different stuff going on, we have our own little approach and little process to that. How do you come about putting a business together, especially when you're tapping into different industries, like grocery stores and digital services and stuff like that? So
what I look for, and this is the key, so if you're going to take anything out of this entire talk that I'm having with Rafael here, anybody listening, this is the key for every single business. And I have lots of businesses and they make me good money, but here is the ultimate key. serving more people. The more people that you serve, the more businesses that you can create that serves more people. I'll give you an example. My real estate, I serve people by buying really good houses, fixing them up, making sure they're really nice and at affordable price so that they can rent the house, because not everybody wants to own a house or can. So I serve them by providing really good houses so that they can live in, and I make passive income. Like I literally make $250 a month or more. Some are like $800 a month in passive income, some properties. And so I benefit, but I serve them. Think of also master passive income, where I coach people how to invest in real estate, how to buy a house, how to make sure you invest anywhere in the country, how to make it an automatic business. Like I teach that because I love doing that. But the great thing is I'm serving more people and I also make money from that. But here's the great thing. I teach so many people how to invest in real estate. They thank me that I've given them the opportunity to pay me to show them how to invest. And they change their life. They're like, man, Dustin, every single penny that I paid you, I've made back thousands more. So, which is a service for me. Think of other, like I also have another company that I created. And remember, it's all about service. How many people can I serve? What are the needs that somebody else has? And how can I serve that? Another example is another company that I created. It's called FTNS Forge. I don't talk about it a lot because it's a whole nother separate company, but it's Fitness Forge. It's basically a fitness company where we give programming, coaching, and all that sort of stuff where there's a need, where there's a lot of people that want to have programming for how to exercise, even coaching how to exercise, and it really just show them how to do it. Well, I created that as a service for them that they can buy into because they see value in it. So for everybody listening, what you're going to take out of this, every business that I create now, number one is passive income. That's all I shoot for. Number one is passive income. But the biggest thing, if it serves as many people as possible, that is what's going to be a good business.
So, and you're talking about the ability just to reach the masses, right? So, okay, what is when you're selecting something, what's your thought process behind it? Is it, I mean, for example, you have a brainstorming session that comes in and then you just kind of, get rid of some ideas if it doesn't, kind of fit into your wheelhouse of the business development stage. I want to get into the kind of like the nitty gritty of some of the pragmatic stuff. So, yeah. To kind of build content, if somebody is thinking of jumping into building their own business, what's the first 3 steps that they should be taking? And of course I completely agree, right? It's value first. We always lead with value, and then you want to make sure that there's a market for the business that you're creating. Otherwise it's just going to be a mom and pop shop in the middle of nowhere. Lost in the internet.
So what I would say, and I definitely know what you're going or where you're going with that. So what I would say is look at what you are inherently good at, or you have experience in, or that you enjoy. Look at that and then try to figure out what that could plan out to be. And if there's a market for it, more than likely there is a market for whatever skill it is you have. That's the reason why you have that skill, is because people are doing it. Give you an example, just for the FTNS Forge, the fitness forge that I have. I enjoy doing Olympic lifting, which is snatch and clean and jerk, like you see in the Olympics. I love doing that. Plus, I also love doing CrossFit type of workouts and stuff like that. And I'm really just passionate about it. So because of that, I saw, what? People always ask me, how do you, just like real estate, I had so many people asking me, how do you invest in real estate? So I created Master Passive Income because people were asking me about that. Same thing with fitness. People are asking me, how do I do this better? How do I make sure I do this? How? Like, well, there's a need there. People are coming to me. So I want you, the first thing, you can brainstorm all you want, which is not bad, but think of what you're already, number one, good at, but also number two, what you have a passion for. If you have a passion for it, more than likely there's going to be somebody that you can serve, or many people that you can serve. So that's my first step, is definitely figure out what your God-given talents are, your experiences, and your everything that you have as far as like your abilities. Then figure out where the market is, and then figure out a business to fit that market.
And as far as as far as abilities, right? It's interesting what you can build whenever you have an open mindset. There's just, for example, if we tap into the digital space, we can put together trainings, we can put together classes. I've seen courses and coaching programs on the weirdest things, So I think at this day and age, it's a matter of of sitting there and then actually taking the action behind it and behind it and doing it, right? It's there's more than likely there's going to be somebody who's going to be interested in whatever whatever's is pulling your leg on your side, right? But so you've done brick and mortar stuff, and then you've done digital, and then real estate. By far, what do you, if you had to start all over again, where would you begin?
If I were to start over again, there would be a progression. First one, I would try to create some sort of online business, because now it's so much easier to do everything online. And in that online business, like even just creating a membership that has a course or two in there. Let's say you love playing the guitar. We talked about my guitar that's on my wall here. Let's say you love playing the guitar. Well, you're advanced at some point further than somebody else. So you could possibly be teaching somebody guitar. And so you create, this is what I would do. I would create something that generates income, something that makes money. And that would be with a membership, that would be with coaching, YouTube, getting YouTube ads, things like that, a podcast where you're teaching that, talking about it, interviewing people, all that sort of stuff. So I get a generation of income. The second thing, I would save every penny as much as I can that I don't have to live on. And I would buy one rental property. This is literally how I would do it. I would buy one rental property, because remember, we make passive income, a minimum of $250 from every single property that we buy. And it's really simple. I'll give you quick nuts and bolts of how to do it. All it is addition and subtraction. You just add up all your expenses, and the expenses are normally fixed: taxes, insurance, property manager fees, things like that. Very, very simple. Add those up, and then you get a total. That's your expenses. Your income is how much you could rent it for. Figure out, let's say you could rent it for $1,300. If your expenses are, let's say, $1,000, well, that's $300. That difference there between the two is $300 in passive income. So what I would do is create an online business to create money. Then I would put all that money into real estate to buy that first property. Remember, like I said, one property is $3,000. Yeah, one property is $3,000 a month. 10 properties is $30,000 a month. 20 properties is $60,000 a month, a year, and so on. And so that's the route that I would personally go. And then once I was able to have more time, because I could stop working that job, that just over broke job, I'd have more time to create more businesses, because that's literally all I do now. I have so much extra time. I just create more businesses.
And then you build them out, you plug people into them, and now they just start generating. How many businesses do you have right now?
4 that are generating income currently. Yeah.
Nice. So 4 running businesses. I mean, it's not a small feat by any means.
Well, here's the thing though, Rafael, all these businesses take just about no time out of my life. And I'll give you an example. My real estate, I have 30 plus properties, making me a lot of money in passive income. I work 30 minutes, not a day, not a week, a month, 30 minutes a month. I just get my property management statement, like, okay, everything's looking good, put it aside. That's one business. Another business, master passive income. The only thing I really do, I jump on interviews like this, or, podcasts, and interview people and get on interviews like you with Rafael, just meeting great people like you. And I just have fun doing this. And I create a YouTube video here and there, and I do some group coaching, and it's very, very little. In fact, the entire month, I probably work about 5 to maybe 10 hours out of the entire month on master passive income. And I make a good substantial income from that which then goes into real estate. My other 2 other businesses, same thing. I do very, very little, because they're all passive income. I do it one time, and I continually make money over and over and over again.
I love it, man. I had an early conversation when I was first looking at real estate, and then using it as a vehicle. I had a conversation with this one guy who had a massive portfolio, and his background was software. So he used to work at IBM, and then he just put together a bunch of cash, and then he parked it in real estate. But that's how he says, I made my cookies somewhere else, but I parked my cookies in real estate.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, that comment, that remark just kind of resonated with me and stayed, with me over the years. But it's a great place to park. I mean, especially if you have a model that works for passive income like that, right? You're actually letting the money work for you, and it's a long-term play. I mean, but absolutely, it's not one of those, you're going to have the amount of money that, for example, you have coming in on a monthly basis. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a long-term play. I mean, it may take you a couple of years to build up the portfolios and kind of get it all right and fine-tune and everything. But it's if we release some of that need that we often have for instant gratification, I think the long-term play is going to serve us a lot more.
That's, you made a
most
great
times.
point. I definitely want to touch on that. I personally love delayed gratification. And the reason why is because the payoff is so much more with delayed gratification. I'll give you an example. When you buy one property, it takes a long time to buy that first property. So you have delayed gratification because you're building the business, you're trying to find the right property managers, all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
then you buy the first property, but then usually your second property comes much faster. Then your third and fourth, it comes faster and faster. But delayed gratification, I'll give you an example. I have a bunch of coaching students where I coach them how to invest in real estate. And one student specifically, in 18 months, and this was during COVID, like in 2020, he started investing. Actually, he bought his first property in 2019, December. All through COVID, he bought, I think, a total of 8 duplexes. So he had 16 units. He was getting close to $4,000 a month in passive income from all these duplexes in 18 months. And now he's up to 22 units. And in 2 years, he's literally having $5,000 or $6,000 in passive income. So thinking of delayed gratification, you make so much more. You have so much better outcome with delayed gratification as opposed to instant gratification.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wanna throw something out there, and this is specific to the real estate side of things. But for example, you keep talking about the cash flow, $250 cash flow a month. That's if you have a property that's leveraged, meaning I'm assuming that's how you're structuring, or that's how you're talking about. Right?
Yes.
So you have a mortgage in place, you're paying the mortgage, and then you're getting the $250 out of it. Now, what happens again with delayed gratification, through time, you start paying down that mortgage, right? So those 250 get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't know, 5 years into it, instead of making 250 because your debt is smaller, now you're making, I don't know, 400 on that same property, depending on the rent rates and that sort of thing, right?
Also,
But,
rents go up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Some of the properties I bought in 2006, 2007, their rents have literally doubled.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, rents go up. Remember, the accounting is very simple. You add up your expenses. My expenses are fairly fixed, except like you just said, Raphael, mortgage in like the whole principal goes down. Eventually, hopefully you pay off your mortgage and all that's passive income. But
Yeah.
I literally was accounting for $250, but in it's like 12 years, 12, maybe 15 years, it's doubled now where I'm making $500 or $600 a month in passive income. So rents go up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a good, and we actually use a very similar number. We look for $300 cash flow whenever we are looking at something for portfolio, take down and buy and hold. But yeah, it's there. And of course, I mean, that's an entry number, right? You come in with at least 300 cash flow, and then that number is just going to grow. You got to have some cushion in there. But I love that strategy, man, especially because it's giving you the opportunity to build out other stuff that you're passionate about. For example, the fitness, model that you're working on. What are you excited about? What's your next, I don't know, in the next 3 years, what do you see yourself doing?
So it's going to be sad, but I think there's going to be some sort of correction in the overall economy, in the real estate market, but also the economy. So I've been saving some money, buying little properties here and there, but I have a lot of properties, so I didn't need to continually grow the business. But I'm actually excited for the next correction. Like if there's a crash, which would be really bad for a lot of people. But I saw the first crash, or my first crash was in 2007. I saw that, and I wish I had more money. I wish I had more ability to buy more properties. So I am so excited about right now. People are saying, "Oh, it's the seller's market." Prices. No, there are still great properties out there. As an investor, you need to know how to find them, how to negotiate, how to get the price down so you make money in passive income. But I'm super excited for the next couple of years because I'm ready. So as soon as there's a correction, because there has to be. It's every 7-8 years there's a correction in the market, but it's been like 12 years since the last one. And so I'm excited to buy that. But at the same time, I remember what I said, the key to everything is serving more people. So because I figured that out, now because of Master Passive Income, I also have another podcast called Successfully Unemployed, passion project mine. I've interviewed great people like Raphael, which I need to have you on the show, talking about how you, as an expert, quit your job so you can show other people. So I have so many options or ways to serve people. I'm super excited about serving more people because the bad thing is people are going to lose their house more than likely if there's a crash. Well, I can buy a house and serve them by giving them a good place to live in. So long story short, I'm looking to serve as many people as I can for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just good business overall. It's a solution driven mentality, and that's going to take you places, right? As opposed to a money driven mentality where you're like you were mentioning before, your boss or the standard business owner, I think, pays you just enough to keep you I don't want to say on a lead.
Basically, keeping you working
without
without
been
quitting.
there.
Yeah, because if you're going to quit, there's like, well, I'm not paying you enough. So they're paying
Yeah.
you just enough to keep you working without quitting.
Yeah, exactly. The comment that came up a couple of days ago on that other podcast was it's the bribe, right? That you get for kind of giving up on your dreams.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, if we again, it comes back to opportunity, it comes back to awareness. If we come in and then we take the first step, just not even, you don't even have to know the whole blueprint, right, of how to build the business, but if you know that you have a passion, you know that passion is, and now you have some direction, right? Okay, cool. How can I articulate this in a way that people understand what I'm talking about? That's another step into it. And then after that, just take one foot in front of the other. Okay, what's the next thing that needs to happen in the business development? Well, I don't know, I got to register an LLC, I got to figure out what potential numbers may look like. What kind of people am I going to be reaching out to? How many people am I going to be serving? Is this a viable, sustainable approach to building a business? The thing is that when you're in it, when you're walking the path, things start making sense. When you don't take that first step, everything looks like it's just part of a different planet. But it's not that it's not rocket science, really. I mean, I keep saying that, building a business is not rockets. It's not easy. There's a lot of rejection, tenacity, and grit and hours and effort that you have to put into it to take off, right? Especially if you're bootstrapping a business. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be like that all the time. Eventually, you get to a point of success where you now have more resources. You're way more resourceful. You have a lot more experience than you used to, and you have the ability to put together businesses faster that can yield the results, for example, that you have now. So
Rafael, let me add one thing too, because I completely agree with everything you said. One thing I would say that every entrepreneur needs to have is persistence. Basically, you're going to get knocked down. Life is going to happen. Things are going to happen that are bad in your business. You're like, oh my goodness, that was bad. But then you figure out, like, as entrepreneurs, what we do, we're problem solvers. A problem comes in our way, we don't give up. We're persistent. We push through. We figure out a way out of that problem, that roadblock, that hurdle, whatever it is. We figure a way through it. And in doing that, we become more resilient and we make our businesses better. All the things that I did when I first started investing, I did so many things wrong, like lots and lots of things wrong. But I figured out what that problem was. Yeah. And I ripped all those problems out. Now my business is a well-oiled machine because I've pushed through all those. So persistence, being a problem solver, in every single business that you have, a problem comes up. It could be a problem is we don't have enough money to manage payroll. That's a problem. Let's figure out how to get money so we can handle our payroll. We are problem solvers and we're persistent.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you and then maybe talk about your coaching process, where's the best way to, or what is the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so I would actually love to give everybody a free course. Do you mind if I do that?
No, absolutely. By all means, we like free stuff all the time.
Awesome. Yeah, so I had so many people asking me how to invest in real estate. I said, you know what? I'm just going to give you my free course. This will literally show you how to find an area of the country to invest anywhere in the country, no matter where you live. We invest thousands of miles away. How to find the right property, how to make sure you're buying it right, $250 a month of passive income, building the business so it's automatic. Go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course, or you can all one word /free course, or you can text the word rental, RENTAL, to 33777, rental to 33777, and I'll literally give you my real estate investing course showing you exactly how to do it.
Wow.
But then also I have like my podcast, Master Passive Income Podcast, where it's basically just me literally teaching how to do investing. I rarely interview anybody. It's literally just me teaching. Successfully Unemployed is another podcast, but yeah, I'm trying to be as everywhere I can.
I love it, man. I'll make sure to have the links on the show notes. But you said rentals at, what was that number, that text number?
So rental, RENTAL,
rental
33777.
Okay, 33777. So it's 2 3s and 4 7s, right?
Yeah, 33777. So yeah, 2 3s and 3 7s, 33777.
All right. Something like that. Yeah. See, I mean, my You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do business. Like I can't even, I'm struggling with math right now.
Oh my goodness. You know what?
But
I'm not smart. I try to tell everybody, like, if I could do this, like, I'm literally just your next door neighbor to figure out something that's really simple that I'm just trying to show you. So I'm definitely not smart. Let everybody listen to this is probably smarter than me. I just figured out how to do it. And yeah, like you and I, Raphael, we just want to help people to show them how to do it.
Right. Absolutely. Completely agree, man. Do you have a social media handle where people can reach you at, or?
Yeah. So Instagram, the
Okay.
the Dustin Heiner, and I'm not that self-absorbed. It's only one I could find. THE Dustin Heiner. So at the Dustin Heiner, and it's really I just post family stuff or things that I do, just showing like, hey, this is just anybody wants to see what I'm doing. Like I just went on a 6-day fishing trip up in Alaska. Literally got back last night, caught a bunch of good fish, halibut, salmon, and all
Hey.
that good stuff. And so it just post fun things like that I like to do. I really yeah. So the Dustin Heiner on Instagram.
The
And
Dustin
YouTube,
Heiner.
yeah, YouTube as well. Just type in Dustin Heiner or Master Passive Income. You'll find me.
I had I had the same issue, right? I was trying to find a handle or something that made sense, and this dude in Brazil already owns Rafael Cortez, and
Oh,
he's like he's got everything. He's got the YouTube, he's got the IG, he's got everything. So I had to add something else. Like I don't want to do the Rafael Cortez. I don't want to do
I
the.
know.
It just kind of feels weird. So I ended up doing Rafael Cortez CEO, just
There you
because
go.
of the brand CEO Pulse, and yeah. But I totally get you, man. Sometimes you got to think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah.
um I love it, man. Well, it's you have a very interesting journey. I like the approach that you have, as in terms of, okay, building one thing and then moving on to the next, building one thing, moving on to the next, but putting your eggs in something that you feel like it's safe, that it's a great vehicle, such as real estate. So it's I mean it's a great approach. I think it's a great strategy to wealth, especially passive wealth. Before we sign off, I'd like to ask this question. If you were walking down the street and you ran into your 17-year-old self, what would you tell that kid?
Ooh. Well, let me give you. It's going to be a bummer, but I've already said this in the show. But first one is find passive income so much sooner than you ever did. Like
Mhm.
that's the first thing. Find passive. Don't just build a business that's you're basically having a job. Like you have your customers are your bosses because if you don't provide
Yeah.
for your customers, you don't. Anyways, find passive income. The second one is when you get knocked down, get back up. Like be persistent. Literally push through everything because you can do it. Somebody else has already done it. And at the same time, find somebody that's already done it and ask them how they did it. And hopefully they're going to show you how to do it.
Cut the learning curve, right? Somehow,
There you
some way.
go.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, Dustin, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us, and for the opportunity actually to come in and then take some of that knowledge with us. In terms of the course and the free stuff that you're putting out there. So people, absolutely, you got to take advantage of this. It's opportunities like this are really what kind of create or end up being the building blocks for the life by design that we're often looking for. So thank you so much, man. It's been a blast. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Raphael. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Boom. It's a wrap.